Okay, so let's go ahead and let's get started with number one. Number one is 12.6 divided by 3. Remember, the first number in a problem is the one that's being divided, unless it's a word problem. The first thing you have to do is put the decimal directly on top because this is already a whole number. Okay? 3 goes into 1 0 times. 3 times 0 is 0. When you subtract, you have 1 left, 12 left, 1 left over, yeah. And you bring down the 2, okay, which gives you 12. So let me repeat that. 3 goes into 1 0 times because 1 is too small. Then you multiply. 3 times 0 is 0. When you subtract, you have 1 left over, you bring down the 2. Don't forget, divide, multiply, subtract, bring down, and then repeat. No remainder this time because we're doing decimals. All right, 3 goes into 12 4 times. 3 times 4 is 12. Now I'm multiplying, right? Now I subtract. I got 0 left over, and I bring down the 6. And 3 goes into 6 2 whole times. You got no remainder, nothing left over, because 6 minus 6 is 0. Okay? And that's number one. Number two, 205.24 divided by 14. Since 14 is a whole number, we don't need to move the decimal at all. We just put a decimal. We don't need to do anything to this number. We just go here, decimal's there. I put it directly on top. 14 goes into 2 0 times. Okay, 14 times 0 is 0. When you subtract, you have that 2 left over, and you bring down the 0, making it 20. Now 14 goes into 20 one time, which gives you 6 left over. You bring down the 5, you have 65. Now I know 14 is very close to 15. You could say close to 10. You could try 14 times 6, since 10 times 6 is 60. But I think that's still too much. I'm going to do 14 times 5. You can't do that right now. Get another sharpened one. 14 times 5. I'm going to try 14 times 5 because I think 6 is a little too high. Okay, so I estimated in my head. I said, I know my 10s. I know 10 times 6 is 60. I know 14's 4 away from 10. I'm going to try 14 times 5 because that's a little too close to 60. 5 times 4 is 20. Carry the 2. 5 times 1 is 5. Plus 2 is 7. Now, is that going to fit or is that too high? Too high. So I got to go 1 down. Now, you can subtract 14 from 70 or you can just do 14 times 4. I'm going to do 14 times 4 so I don't confuse anyone. 4 times 4 is 16. Carry the 1. 4 times 1 is 4. Plus 1 is 5. 56. That's as close as I can get without going over. So 14 goes into 65 4 times. And then we subtract. We get 9 left over. 65 minus 56 is 9. Bring down the 2. Now I know 14 times 5 was 70. So 14 times 6 is going to be 70 plus 14, right? I can do that in my head. What's 70 plus 14? Maybe you can't. Maybe you can't. Okay, well, let's try it. 70 plus 14. 4 plus 0 is 4. 7 plus 1 is 8. It's going to be 84. That's as close as I can get to 92. So I'm going to do 14 times 6 because I added 1 from that. You guys know how I got that? All right, if you don't, write a question. I don't know how you got that. Okay? But I'm going to say it goes in there 6 times, and I got 84 left over. When I subtract, I have 8 left over, and I bring down the 4. And I have 84 again, which it goes in there 6 times evenly. So there's nothing left over, and we are done. Okay? Let's go ahead. Let's do number 3.
Why don't you write the problem you got wrong? Or you didn't do?
Yeah, if you got the ones you didn't do and the ones you got wrong are the ones you should be writing. Yeah. Okay. Number 3, honestly, is probably the simplest one on your test. Okay? It looks complicated, but it's really not. You have to move this decimal to the right because it's not a whole number. That makes it a whole number 2. Whatever you do on the outside, you have to do on the inside. So we move this 1 to the right. And now we have 8 divided by 2. Whoa. 8 divided by 2 is 4. 4 is your answer there. Very simple. You just move this once to the right to make it whole. You move this once to the right because you moved that one to the right once. And now you have 8 divided by 2. Okay? I am not saying to make these both whole numbers. You have to make the outside number a whole number. But we're only moving this once, so this is only getting moved once. Okay? All right, if you have a question, make sure you write it down. Number 4, once again, this is not a whole number, so we have to move it to the right one time, which means we move this to the right one time. Now we have 156 divided by 24. I like to rewrite it because it makes it a little bit more organized, okay? And I know 24 doesn't go into 1 or 15, so I'm going to put zeros as placeholders, right? Those are both too small. So I have to find out how many times does 24 go to 156, okay? I didn't do the whole 24 times 0 is 0, 24 times 15. We know those go into 1 and 15 0 times. So I'm kind of skipping that step. So if you're confused on that, you can write a question, ask me later. But I'm using these zeros as placeholders, okay? So I know 24 is close to 25. I think of 25 like quarters. 4 quarters is $1. So 25 times 4 is 100. 6 quarters is 150, right? 25 times 6 would be 150. 6 quarters is $1.50, sorry. I'm going to try 24 times 6, because I think that's going to get me close to 156. I know 25 times 6 would be 150, because if I had 6 quarters, it's $1.50. So I'm trying 24 times 6. 6 times 4 is 24. 6 times 2 is 12. Plus 2 is 14. And yeah, that's as close as I can get to 156 without going over. So it goes in there 6 times. And when I subtract, I have 12 left over. Now, we don't do remainders. So what we have to do is we have to put a decimal here, because this is, every whole number has an invisible decimal and an infinite amount of zeros. So we're going to add a 0 here because we need it, and we bring it down. And now we have 120. 24 goes into 120 5 whole times. And I can double check that. 24 times 5. 5 times 4 is 20. Carry the 2. 5 times 2 is 10. Plus 2 is 12. So it goes in there 5 whole times. So your answer is 6.5. Once again, we had to insert a decimal right here because we had 12 as a remainder. So when we have a remainder and we have no more numbers that we can use, we need to add a decimal here, put one directly on top, and then add in a 0, okay? Every whole number has an invisible decimal and an infinite amount of zeros. So we're just pulling those out, getting them invisible to visible, just pulling them out, saying we're going to use you now. And now we got 120. We don't have to have any more zeros because we have nothing left over, okay? All right, let's go ahead and let's do number 5. Number 5, you don't have to move any decimals over. You have 7.5 and you have 15. So you just need to put a decimal directly on top. 15 goes into 7 0 times. And 15 goes into 75, I think it's 5 times. 5 times 5 is 25. 5 times 1 is 5, plus 2 is 7. Yeah, goes in there 5 whole times. So you should have 0.5. That's another pretty simple one. Okay? Mr. Mouse, how did you know that 15 goes in there 5 times? Well, I know, and I'll show you my thinking. 15 times 2 is 30. Okay? Which means 15 times 4 is 60, because this is double, so I double this. And then if I had 15 more, that makes it 75. All right? This was what I did in my head. I'm not saying you can do that in your head. Maybe you can. But think of it like that. Okay, well, what's 15 times 2? 30. Okay, what's double 30? 60. So I got double 2. All right. Well, if I add 15 more to that, it makes it 75. All right. Let's do number 6. Once again, we don't have any decimals here, so we just add a decimal on top, and we get going. Okay. 4 goes into 0 times. 4 times 0 is 0. When you subtract, you have that 2 left over, and you bring down the 0. 4 goes into 20 5 times, and that's going to be 5 whole times, because 4 times 5 is 20. You got nothing left over, but you still have a number here, 2. And how many times does 4 go into 2? It's too small. So how many times? You'll say proud, loud and proud. 0 times. 0 times. It's too small. Okay? You got to put the 0 on top, or you will get it wrong. Some of you did get it wrong. You realize, oh, I put 5.5. But you have to have a 0 there. It goes in there 0 times. And now we draw in another 0. We take one of those invisible zeros out, and we say, hey, we're going to use you. 4 goes into 20, 5 whole times.
Mr. K!
4 times 5 is 20. You got 0 left over. Okay? So your answer is going to be 5.05. Once again, you have to, when you bring down the 2, you have 2. You have to say, how many times does 4 go into this number? Has to be 0 because it's too small. Then we go to next door, say, okay, we got to take a 0 out of the invisible world, right? Bring it in here and use it. And now we can put our last number, okay? If you have a question on that one, make sure you write it down so you don't forget. All right, let's do number 7. All right, this has a decimal, so we move it once to the right, which means we move this one once to the right. So now we have 24.5 divided by 2. And this should be a walk in the park because we know our 2's. 2 goes into 2 one time. Okay, bring down the 4. 2 goes into 4 2 times. Okay, bring down the 5. 2 goes into 5 2 times. Let me erase this. I'm running out of room. Okay, bring down the 5. 2 goes into 5 2 times. 5 minus 4 is 1. And now we have to take out another 0. And 2 goes into 10 5 times. All right, let me repeat that because I know that's a little sloppy. You look here and you say, okay, 2 goes into 2 one time. 2 times 1 is 2. 0 left over, bring down the 4. 2 goes into 4 2 times. 2 times 2 is 4. You have 0 left over, bring down the 5. And I'm sorry, that's sloppy. 2 goes into 5 2 times. 2 times 2 is 4. You got 1 left over, and now you take a 0 and bring it down. And 2 goes into 10 5 times. Nothing left over. Okay. If you have a question on that, let me know. I do apologize, it's a little sloppy. All right, let's do number 8. I have to rewrite it. Number 8 is 60. I put in number 80. We don't have 80 problems. 60 divided by 16, right? Okay. So let's go ahead and let's do that. We don't need it. We don't have any decimals here, but I am going to put one right here because I'm pretty sure I'm going to need it. 16 goes into 6 0 times. 16 times 0 is 0. Bring down the 0. Now 16 is close to 20. I know 20 times 3 is 60. I'm going to try 16 times 3. It might be too small, but we'll see. 3 times 6 is 18. Carry the 1. And that's 48. I think, yeah, that's as close as I can get. Okay? I can double check. I'll add 16. Yeah, and it's 64. So it can't be 4. It has to be 3 times. All right, and I have 48, which gives me 12 left over. Now I have to bring a 0 down. Okay? And I know 16 goes into 1. Once again, 16 is close to 20. I know 20 times 6 is 120. I'm going to try 16 times 6 and see how close I get. And I got 96. I could do 16 times 7. I could definitely do 16 times 7. So, I'm running out of room here. I'm going to do it up here, guys. Sorry. 16 times 7. 112. So, it goes in there 7 times. I have 112, which means I got 8 left over. I got to take down another 0 and bring it down. I'm not going to draw a line, but I'm taking another 0 and bringing it down. And I know 16 goes into 80 5 whole times. I know that because I did 16 times 6 is 96. If I subtracted that 16, I'd have 80 even. Okay? So I have nothing left over. All right, if you have questions on that, make sure you write it down. All right, let's finish up. Now we got 3.3 divided by 2. That's the word problem. Jim has a wire that's 3.3 meters long. He cuts the wire into 2 equal pieces. So he's dividing the wire. When you look at word problems, you need to ask yourself, what is being divided? In this case, it's the wire. So we carry the decimal. 2 goes into 3 one time. You got 1 left over. Bring down the 3. 2 goes into 13 6 times. You got 1 left over. Bring out a 0. Bring it down. 2 goes into 10 5 times. Your answer is 1.65. Okay? Number 10. Dwight's family lives 966 kilometers from the beach. each of the 5 adults drove the family van an equal distance. So they're dividing the distance between the 5 adults. 966 divided by 5. Okay? 5 goes into 9 one time. You got 4 left over, bring down the 6. 5 goes into 46 9 times. You got 1 left over, bring down the 6, making it 16. 5 goes into 16 3 times. You got 1 left over, add a decimal, bring down a 0. And 5 goes into 10 2 times, which makes your answer 193.2. You can stop it.